Chafing Armor Podcast, Episode 42, A Pig in a Poke. Welcome back to the Chafing Armor Podcast. I'm your host, and recently shoveling poop, Dungeon Master, Michael Corley. And that's actually true and a wonderful metaphor for all the crap I give my players. And playing with me today, you heard him laugh, is a special solo episode of Lee. Lee, tell everyone who you will be playing.
G'day everybody, I am Lee, and I am playing Osakai, the Shifter Ranger.
Yes, indeed. And a currently verified. We are going just a little back in time. In the last couple of episodes, we had Osakai show up out of nowhere on a rooftop as a bear, or at least in bear disguise, due to a very special hat that had been lent to him by Zuana, the disguised drow. But we're going to go back and find out how he got there. When we last left off, Osakai and Zuana were in the local bunting of Masgate. You had just gone underneath and you had disguised yourself as a bear for this druid companion of this dark elf. You had gone inside and y'all had been seen by a group of dark elves, of fellow drow, who had called over Zuana. And we open now, and she says to Zuana, the leader of this group, "Oh, what a charming bear you have." And she turns to look at you. What do you do?
I am just a bear. So, I will tentatively sniff the air as she looks at me, but otherwise, nothing.
"Is he good at hunting?" she says, and Zuana answers, "Oh, yes. He is quite skilled at sinking his claws into things." And she laughs, a most unpleasant, very dark elfish laugh. The other woman says, "My name is Tazas, and I rule this very small and insignificant area, and it is my absolute pleasure to meet you." And she says her name. She says Zuana, and she actually says her last name, and she says it so quickly, and she says it in Drow that you don't quite catch it. But it's very, very unusual. But we may get back to that later. And she says, "Well, my dear, I was actually planning on currying some favor with the leader of this establishment. Would you care to join us for a hunt?" And Zuana seems kind of like, and she leans forward again and says, "I won't take no for an answer." Would you like to do anything at this time?
How does Zuana look, given that this drow knows her name?
She seems nervous, but she seems very composed. You're not sure if she's nervous about this woman, who she did say we should probably try to avoid before she noticed her, or if she's nervous that you might be revealed to not be a bear while y'all are hunting. You don't know which one of those it is. By the way, at that moment, there is a slight kerfuffle in the distance, and the largest troll you've ever seen. Fortunately, Osakai has had very little dealings with trolls. He very wisely tries to stay away from them. The largest troll you've ever seen, it is a female troll, which you mostly know because she's wearing ridiculous chainmail bikini and just has just makeup just smeared on her face, comes out and is just screaming at the top of her lungs at an orc. And they're just yelling at each other. Zuana says, "Problems at home?" Taza says, "Well, this bunting has many fine features. One of them is people can enjoy companionship while they are here. And I understand that Bruise," and she looks over at the female troll, "is quite popular. You're welcome to sample the wares later if you'd like." Zuana smiles. "No, thank you." With that, all of them at once get up and begin making their way outside. And you follow them outside as a bear, trying very hard not to touch anyone, remembering that this is entirely cosmetic, your transformation. You do not actually feel like a bear. So if anyone was to touch you, they would feel your clothes and skin underneath and not fur. Just an FYI.
Okay.
So you make your way outside, and she says, well, why don't we let your fine bear take the lead? See if it can find some game for tonight's feast. What would you like to do?
Okay. I am still just a bear. Being a druid's companion, I'm smarter than the average bear. But I don't feel like letting on that I understand what she's saying would be a good thing. Mm-hmm. So I will follow Zuana's lead, see what she has to do or say about things.
You realize, or Zuana suddenly realizes what you're about, and she goes, and she makes some gestures to you, and she says, "Great one, go forth and find game." And she stamps her sharpened staff on the ground 3 times, and then she points out towards the woods.
Okay. All right. I will use knowledge nature to find what kind of game is in the area.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and make that roll.
That's a 16.
16? Well, it is a heavily wooded area near water, and you know from experience it's actually one of the best places to hunt. Any place where there's plenty of water, plenty of places for the animals to hide. There will definitely be pigs. There will be rabbits. There will be cougars of various kinds. So you may have to face some older women with designs on younger men.
Goody.
Sorry. Yeah. But there will be larger game. You do also know that a woods such as this, while it would be somewhat cleared out, being so close to a city, may have some other things in it that are just as likely to eat you as you eat it.
Makes sense. Okay, so let's do a search for any tracks.
Okay, go ahead and make that roll.
Recognize. That's a 20 total.
20. Okay. Well, you actually see some fresh tracks, and you distinguish them. You recognize some of these are almost certainly that pig, or I should say that boar that you encountered earlier, and you're not where you were earlier exactly. So what that means is he actually came back here and sniffed around and then left. But you do also pick out what seems to be some kind of large cat in the woods nearby.
So I will sniff the area of the cat's, I was going to say spoor, but that's not right, tracks, and look back at Zuana and with my best bear impression.
That's a pretty good bear impression.
I don't know, we don't have bears here, so...
Well, I mostly see them for movies. We don't. We technically have bears in some parts of Oklahoma, but they're pretty few and far between. Certainly not where I live. Though we do have a few cougars, the other kind. And so, what would you like to do?
I'm trying to get Zuana's attention as to what game is around and whether or not what she wants to hunt.
Okay, you sniff at the tracks, and she looks down at them knowledgeably, and she whispers into your ear, "I have no idea what any of this means. Just do something."
Okay, let's see if we can follow the cat's trail.
Okay. You start to make your way off. And by the way, the group, there are 5 total drow besides Zuana, do not follow immediately. They're kind of very lazily following behind, but they're falling well behind. Almost like they're maybe just seeing kind of what you're going to do and what Zuana is going to do. And so y'all make your way into the woods, and as you would well imagine, it's not like the creature is just 3 feet into the woods. You have to go for quite a while, and the sun has gone down at this point. It's beginning to get later and later. And you make your way forward when you start to hear a growling sound.
Which direction?
It is coming from the east, which is roughly going to take you back towards the ocean eventually, but there's quite a bit of heavy woods there and some small outcroppings of rock.
Okay, so since I am still disguised, it doesn't matter if I shift, but we will leave that until we encounter our friend. All right, I will attempt to move silently in bear form towards the sound of the growling.
And I would like you to both make a stealth check for me, and I would also like you to give me a perception check, and let me know what that is.
Okay, so... Ooh, okay. That's a 29 on the stealth check.
Okay.
And perception... That's an 18 on the die.
18. Okay. You are like a shadow among shadows. You, the leaves do not even rustle as you make your way through the forest. And you're really kind of getting into this because you do actually enjoy hunting. And, setting aside that your lives are on the line if something goes wrong right now, this is kind of what you do. You are, after all, at the end of the day, a ranger. And you're so into it that you come within a hair's breadth of stepping on a booby trap. But you don't. You see that leaves that you're not disturbing are just a little more sparse just ahead of you. And spread underneath them is a large circular net.
Ah, that's clever. Okay, let's see. So, I don't have disable device. I guess we'll take a wide berth. Oh, wait. Can I search for the trigger?
Just give me another perception roll.
Okay. That's a 17 on the die.
Okay. It's a well-made trap, but you do have dark vision, right? Low light vision, I should say.
Oh, no, I do. Sorry.
Okay.
I had
Gotcha.
to check. Yes, I do. Yeah.
I was gonna give you, you would normally be a disadvantage to find this in the dark, but you follow your way back. It is a well-made trap. It's not crude. It's very well constructed, and there is a trigger at the base of a somewhat thin tree that you can tell will send this net go flying upwards, a la Return of the Jedi in the woods.
We're just going to avoid it. I'm going to... Zuana should be somewhere nearby.
Mm-hmm. She's not too far from behind you.
I'm going to make it very obvious from my movements that this area should be avoided.
Okay.
And hope that she actually picks up what I'm putting down, because I don't know where these other drow are. So they
you have lost sight of them.
They could be watching from the shadows, and I don't really want to break my disguise. So, yeah.
You don't know for certain, but you have a feeling that maybe they're very much on purpose, falling behind just to kind of watch and see what y'all will do. Maybe both to see what Zuana's made of and to see if there's anything that's up. Speaking of leaves and traps and well-made things, there was someone sneaking up on you, but they rolled a 6 with the curse of the GM dice. So even with their bonus, you hear a sharp snap as they step on a branch behind you.
Well, we will turn toward that sound as well, very sharply.
Okay. I need you to now roll for initiative.
Indeed. Okay. That's 19.
Okay. Yeah, these dice are not being kind to me. You rolled a 19, and Zuana got a 2, and your assailant got a 5. So you definitely go first. You spin around, and you know what this is when you see it, but this is, again, something you have never seen up close. It is a huge, hulking, largest kind of the goblin races. This is a bugbear, and he has a hooked spear, and he is trying to stab you with it. And but he stepped on a branch because he got a little too overeager coming forward. I should mention that you are between him and the trap at this time, just so you know where you are spatially. Okay. And Zuana is just a little to your right, and you would say that the trap is behind you, and he is directly in front of you.
Okay, all right. Okay, bugbears are... But we'll give it a shot. Bugbears are, as far as I remember, are actually still bigger than me.
They're about 9. Well, they're not 9 feet tall. They're very tall though.
Yeah. So what we'll do is stand to our full height, still in bear mode, and roar. Try to... I hope this works. Try to intimidate, or at least get the bugbear to stop moving for a second. And then, yeah, we'll see if we can maneuver ourselves so that the trap is between us and the bugbear. So, roll for intimidate. Oh, thank you so much. That's a 20 on the die, but again, it's a skill check, so why? And my intimidate is very high, so that's a 27.
Okay. Describe to me how you intimidate this bugbear.
So Osukai stands to his full height, which in normal human form is 6'11". He's almost 7 feet tall. But disguised as a bear, that he is definitely 7 foot to 7.5 feet tall with the disguise, and just roars in the most guttural, bear-like fashion he possibly can. Mouth open, teeth bared.
And perhaps he's expecting a cowed prey. Perhaps he's expecting a swift kill. But you just turn around, and perhaps it's his standing up. Though bears, of course, do that. They don't generally do it in combat. And you just stand up like a human and roar at him, and it stuns him for a moment. And he will actually lose his turn because you rolled so well. So that brings it to Zuana. And you have seen her do this many times before. She stamps with her staff and says a word in Elven. And vines begin to grow up around the bugbear and encapsulate him. And he will have a chance to break out of that, but as he lost his turn, he doesn't get to. So it is back to you.
All right, so we will drop back down to all fours, move and position ourselves so that the net is between us and the bugbear. And how would bears wouldn't taunt, but we are not your average bear, so we're going to stand back up on the other side with the trap between us and just continue. It's not an intimidating roar, it's more a come at me kind of roar. And we'll see how he goes with that.
What are you hoping to accomplish with this roar?
Well, if he's worth his salt, he'll probably get out of Zuana's vines, depending on, dice gods willing. So the idea is to trigger his rage or his anger at being bound up and intimidated and such, just that he kind of forgets his situation and charges, with the hope that he will charge right into the trap.
Okay. So you're just you're almost doing like a bear version of a Toro, come at me, bro.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So go ahead and roll for that taunt, for lack of a better term.
Okay. Ooh, 16 on the die.
Well, it does enrage him, so there is that, and he is furious with you, and now it's his turn, and he's going to roll to break out. He actually fails, even with his prodigious strength. He actually fails to break out of the vines, and so he is going to throw his spear at you, and he rolls a 22.
That hits.
Ouch. And that is... I'm sorry, this is a javelin he is throwing at you. So, he rolled a 1 plus 2. So he does 3 points of damage to you. So you are terribly injured now. It is now Zuana's turn, and she is spinning about her staff and driving it into his midsection. And she rolls a 5. So she just cannot penetrate through that very thick natural hide that he's wearing. He is wearing like a very simple leather armor, but it's almost doing nothing. It's mostly his natural leather that his natural skin that he's using. Remember when I said that he rolled a 6 on his stealth roll? Well, his companion rolled a 19. So he has snook up upon you, and you are very fortunate, sir, because he rolled a 10. So even with his plus to strike, which he does have, that is not going to get past your armor class. So out of nowhere, a secondary one. So Zuana's on one side of you. This guy's in front of you. From the other side, just near a little outcropping of rock, comes this other bugbear, and he is actually got a morning star, something you're very familiar with, and he is just screaming at you in Goblin, just. But he slams into you with the morning star, and it fails against your armor, and you see there's like a confusion on his face, because there's like a way that it feels if you hit a bear with a mace or a morning star, and a way it feels when it hits armor. And he's just like, oh, huh? Now that will bring it to your turn.
Then, alright, so we're shifting. So it's not visible given our disguise, but we gain some bonuses to our attack, and we gain some weapons, natural weapons, which is helpful also for maintaining our disguise. So the claws come out, Osukai shifts, and we will attack our nearest buddy, and we will do so. Yeah, we're just going to attack. Thankfully, with our claws, no, I don't get a second attack just yet. I'm at level 4. Okay, so we'll just attack with our claws. We'll roll to hit.
And which one of these? You're hitting the one with the morning star.
The one that
okay.
That's sorry, counter math. Go for that +8. So that's a 22.
That will hit. Their armor class is not inconsiderable, but that hits.
Fortunately, claws do not do a whole lot of damage, so that's a 3.
You slash into him, and he's but he barely seems to notice it in his rage. That will bring it to the last one, and he again fails to break free. So he is trying to slash at Zuana. However, he is at disadvantage right now because of range, and he misses. There's trying to slash at him. But with those vines tangling him, he can't quite reach. And so now she rolls a 1. And you know what that means? It's time for the percentage die. But she just rolls a 13. So she just misses. She does not get eaten by a shark, as some people we know. Bringing it back to Mr. Bugbear with the Morning Star, you can feel his stinky, stinky breath as it's fetid with rotten meat. They don't brush very often. He is slashing at you. He gets an 18. Will that beat your armor class?
Yes, it equals, which I think still counts.
Yes, I believe that's the way we decided to go with it. I do seem to do it differently every campaign. You are very fortunate that he rolls a 1. So he actually does a total of 2 points of damage to you. So you've now taken 5, which is not nothing. You are getting slapped around by bugbears here. That actually brings it to the next person. But it's not a bugbear. There was a time when his master would lean down at night and pet his coarse fur that would sprout out of his back. And he knew the smell of his master, even in the total darkness. And he's not quite sure yet, but he knows there's something special about this new person that he's found, the one who ended his master's suffering. And out of the woods, a boar comes hurtling out of the woods, and you just hear this, and it just slams into the one with the morning star, to the bugbear. And gets an 18, does this boar. And he gores this bugbear and does 8 points of damage. That was a good hit. The bugbear felt that quite a lot. He is I apologize. That was a sneak attack. That was 16 points of damage. So actually what happens is he comes out of the woods, slams into this bugbear, and both of the bugbear's legs that are unarmored, you just see these 2 tusks grow out of his shins. And the bugbear just screams, and the boar shakes himself left and right. And you hear the crack of the shin bones as they splinter, and the bugbear collapses to the ground, dying. And there's a moment where you are looking face to face with this boar that attacked you before, and its face is just covered in gore, and it goes, and it looks at you, and then it turns and looks at the other bugbear. And that will actually bring it to your turn.
Okay. Things have changed. Well, boars are... I'm not entirely sure whether boars are known to be territorial, but I would assume so.
Mm-hmm.
So it could just be this boar is defending its territory from perceived threat, but that would mean all of us, and the board does not seem too interested in doing the same thing to me, which indicates something is very different about this beast. Does it look much different to a regular boar that we know of? Can I make out there's something different about this boar than just your regular run-of-the-mill boar that we would hunt?
First of all, this is absolutely the boar who attacked you from before. There's no doubt about it. He is big. He is not supernaturally big, but he's on the upper level of what could be considered to be a normal-sized boar. So he's very stocky, and he looks like incredibly well fed. Like he's just you actually, as a hunter, you're like he would be amazing to eat. Like just the muscle underneath him. But there is also something off about him. You don't know if it's like a slight reddishness to his hue, something perhaps that was in his diet from before, but there's something off about him, and you don't know what that is, to be perfectly honest.
Okay. It would be wise to be wary of a boar, especially given their proclivity to fight to the death. Boars do not back down, ever. It's just a thing they have. Be wise to be wary of the boar, but given what he's just done to a bugbear and the demeanor towards myself at least, I don't think there's any cause for worry at this point. Perhaps the other bugbear is a bigger threat in the boar's eyes, so let's just, still remembering about the trap between us and the bugbear, make our way so that the trap is behind us again. Where is the other bugbear's javelin, by the way?
In the netting of the trap, but it is actually like sticking out of the trap. So if you were careful, you could actually pull it out without triggering the trap, you think. Realistically, even if you did trigger it, there's no reason to think that it would actually trap you. It might like snap your hand, but it's actually just embedded in the ground at like a 45-degree angle because it sailed past you and went into the... Oh, wait. No, it hit you, didn't it?
The javelin, yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. It's laying on the ground next to you.
Okay. Well, we are still a bear. It would probably not be a good idea for a bear to wield a weapon. So we are still shifted. We will use our shifter speed, which I believe increases when I'm shifted. It does not. What am I talking about? Okay. So that was our first round. 3 plus Constitution modifier. Constitution is so 5 rounds. I've got my shifter. So we've done the first round. Second round, we're just going to charge and attack the still bound up other bugbear. That's what they're called, right? All right. We're going to bear tackle bugbear with the attempt at knocking him down so he's easier to finish off. That's on the floor. That's not. Okay, that's a 2. We failed. Oh, wait. Sorry. That's a 10 total. Sorry.
10 total. Okay. You still cannot quite get at the bear. He's being a bugbear. He's being extremely defensive because he's tangled up in these vines, and he's just swatting away, and he's yelling at both you and Zuana. You actually hear him yelling things in Goblin. You don't speak Goblin, I don't think.
No.
Okay. And it's his turn, and he's going to try again to break free. And this time he actually does. Breaks free. And he managed to tear himself free. And he's going to pull out a small, nasty-looking sword, which is actually closer to a full-size sword, but for him it's rather small. And he is going to charge at you, because you are right next to him. But he rolled an 11, so that's not going to do it. Just for fun, describe to me how you would duck out of the way when you were pretending to be a bear if someone was swinging a sword at you.
We would probably just roll backwards.
Okay. You roll back, and there's a moment where you go, "Am I? Did I get too close to the trap?" And you out of your corner of your eye, you see like a little bit of the rope, and you go, "Yeah," but then you realize you're still safe from it because you were being aware.
Yeah.
And that's when Zuana takes the moment to step in, and she rolls a 10. She's not doing so great, though she did do good with that trap. Everything else has not been favorable to her today. And as you roll back, she overcompensates trying to hit him. And that will actually bring it to the boar, and he kind of scuffs up next to you for a second, like checking on you, it seems like. And then he turns to the bugbear and and crashes into him. But he rolls a 5. I guess he was a little too angry and doesn't quite get it. Brings it back to your turn.
Okay. Let's just go in for the kill.
Okay.
20. Holy crap. Okay. All right. So unfortunately, these are still claws. So that's just double. Okay. That's a 6 total.
6, and was that total? With a double?
That's with double, yeah. It's total.
Okay, 6 points. So you've still done a very good slash against him, and he screams, and he's yelling again. He's switched languages, but you still don't quite sure. You think maybe it's a giant? You're not sure. He's yelling at you and Zuana. And Zuana goes in for a swipe, and she gets a 2. Poor Zuana. She's struggling. And that... Oh, did I have him? He didn't attack, did I? Did he?
No.
No, I forgot to... He was actually supposed to attack first. That's okay. Here we go. And he gets a 1. So let's roll. No, just a 33. So he just misses. And that will bring it to a boar who must not be named, who gets a 3. These DM dice are just getting everybody. My goodness, these rolls are insanely bad. They're approaching Will Wheaton levels. So let's move back up to Osokai. What would you like to do?
Well, let's just keep going. We'll do another intimidating roar.
Okay.
I love my intimidate. So that's a 25.
Okay. You step forward and just give him the biggest roar ever, and he actually stumbles to one knee, and he switches to common, and he is shouting at you, "I'm on your side! I'm on your side, you fool!" But you realize he's not yelling at you. He's yelling at Zuana. It's Zuana's turn, and she's swinging around her spear, and she says, "What do you mean?" He says, "I serve the master! We are to gather tonight. I was simply hunting for game for later for the feast." And whatever else he was going to say is cut off because when he goes down on one knee, the boar charges forward and tears out his throat. And with a gurgling cry, he lets out his last gasp and falls to the ground, very dead. And at that point, you hear, and walking in through the trees come the 5 drow. Unsurprisingly, they had indeed been watching you from a distance. And the leader says to Zuana, "Very, very fine job. Not the game we were expecting. In fact, we know these two. However, they are also fools, and I think they will be fine for the meal tonight at the bunting." And she gestures over to a gentleman in dark leather, and he pulls out a skinning knife and proceeds to butcher the 2 corpses. By the way, one of the bugbears isn't quite dead, but it doesn't seem to bother him. as he begins to butcher them for meat very messily in the dark. The leader turns to Zuana and she says, "Your hunting skills are quite impressive." By the way, at this moment, the boar actually begins slinking off into the woods. And no one else seems to take notice of, just FYI. And the leader turns to Zuana and she says, "You should come back to the bunting tonight. We're going to have a great feast. And now, apparently, bugbear is on the menu, thanks to you. You should really come with us. We are going to have a great celebration. You see, we sent some of those miserable, tainted blood scum, and they're out to kill the merry band of adventurers that have recently had a contract put on their life." And Zuana kind of narrows her eyes and says, "Oh, I think I have heard something of this. Who exactly do you mean?" And she immediately describes your merry band of adventurers: a gnome, a spell-scale sorcerer, a half-orc, and of course a shifter, a huge, burly bear of a man. And she says, "It shouldn't be long before the moon is finished rising right outside of Loft's establishment. They are going to poison some, and the rest will see the blade. And then the staff of Seraphim will be ours." And Zuana turns and looks at you and looks back at them, and she says, "Well, then by all means, let us go and prepare this food. I know a special recipe for bugbear shish kebab. If you don't mind, I'm going to let my bear ramble in the woods for a while. After a kill, he likes to find small game and play with." Leader nods, and they together pick up these just gory hunks of meat from the bugbear. Their corpses are completely unlooted. The weapons and whatever small coins they have are just left there. And they begin to make their way back to the bunting. What would you like to do?
I will, you know what? Uncharacteristically, I will nuzzle Zuana's hand with my giant head in a sort of acknowledgement / goodbye, and then sniff the ground where the butchering took place, still attempting my bear disguise while they leave. And when they are sufficiently left the area, I'll scoop up the coins.
Okay. There are... Wow. So I rolled the percentile dice, and I rolled a 100. For simplicity's sake, let's say that there was just little coppers and stuff and nothing of great value, but not too long ago, one of these bugbears had gotten hold of one of the rich merchants who had crossed the merchant known as Loft and had gutted him stern to stomach. And one of the things on his person was a flawless diamond. A diamond as big as your fist. And I mean as big as your fist. It is huge, and you don't even know how much it is worth. That was a weird roll of the dice, to be perfectly honest. But that's the way it goes. And so you have a huge diamond that you can put on your person, and you notice that when you, put it in your pocket, it just vanishes because, of course, you're a bear right now. And what would you like to do?
We are going to charge off back towards the town. We have some friends in danger. Oh, actually, before we do that, what do I have in my pack? I'm going to drop a trail ration and some... I'm just going to drop a trail ration where the boar vanished into the woods and offer a... not so much prayer, but just sort of a thanks to the forest, and then we'll head off.
Okay. And if you do feel a small "you're welcome" from the traveler, it is far too slight for your unenlightened, unclerical senses to feel, but, perhaps a slight breeze kind of pushes you on as you drop little bits behind you. There was a time when the necromancer walked the Isle of the Dead. It was called that because of him. It was not called that because of the hags who later would drive a silver spike through his forehead. And he would walk the island, his only companion, a huge boar that he would pet, his coarse hair, and he would drop little bits of food, and the boar would snuffle and pick them up. And there was some who would say that he picked up some of the magic when that happened too. But as you go off running, that first plunk hits the ground, and that boar comes out of the darkness and sniffs the ration and then he begins to follow behind. And that ends Chafing Armor number 42. Thank you very much for joining me on this solo adventure.
Not a problem. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of Osokai the Bear, or possibly Osokai the Loft, along with this boar, and along with those 5 mysterious drow. Thank you all so much for listening to us today. Lee, did you know that we have a YouTube channel?
I did not.
What? What? You didn't know? Oh, my goodness. Oh, well, you can go to Chafing Armor. Just put that in on YouTube and it'll pop right up. Or if you go to our website, chafingarmor.com, there is always a link to it. Some people just prefer to listen to podcasts on there. We've had our friend Duke, that I believe you've had a few chats with.
Indeed.
Yes, and he actually found us on the YouTube channel, and so we always want to encourage that. But you can find us on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're just about everywhere you pick up podcasts. Go ahead and give us a listen there if you prefer. But y'all have, once again, thank you very much for playing, Lee.
Thank you.
And we will roll with you soon.